Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's a bit of a different video today. It's not normally something I really do on my channel. You guys have seen me do transfer videos, you see me do Liverpool lineup videos about what Liverpool's team looks like nowadays under Arne Slot, potential Liverpool lineups for the upcoming seasons. But after Liverpool's title victory this season, I thought to myself, why not do a video, take a blast to the past, and compare the two title-winning teams that we've seen in the last 5 years. Jurgen Klopp's 1920 title-winning side and Arne Slot's 24-25 title-winning side. The players that are in the teams, points, goals, just compare the two teams and see how they match up against one another. But guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash a like, subscribe to the channel. It does mean a lot, and I'd like to thank all of you for your continued support. It means a lot. I'm growing very fast, and it's all thanks to you guys. And I promise you, more content is coming your way. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get into it. So, in the last 5 years, there have been two Liverpool managers that have delivered the Premier League title. Jurgen Klopp in 1920 and Arne Slot in 24-25. Two very different styles in terms of how they progress. Arne Slot with more of a midfield progression, where Jurgen Klopp used more of the fullbacks and the wide forwards. And we will talk about all of that in this video. But Liverpool are both the champions in both years. 1920, they were ruthless. 24-25, they were ruthless. So, before we get into the video, I would like to show you the two teams, the most used 11s from both Jurgen Klopp and Arne Slot in their respective title-winning seasons. So let's start with Jurgen Klopp and his favorite title-winning side, and it's none other than what you can see in front of me. Alisson, Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Henderson, Salah, Firmino, and Mane. So you can see from the midfield upward, it's very different. The whole back five that was playing for Liverpool. Gomez obviously didn't play as many games for Arne Slot. Is that still at Liverpool? Bar Trent has now gone to Real Madrid, but we're talking about the 24-25 season. They were all Liverpool players, and that was a good foundation laid by Jurgen Klopp. So those 5 players were there. Wijnaldum no longer at the club, left in 2021, joined Paris Saint-Germain, now playing at Al Ettifaq in Saudi Arabia. Fabinho left in 2023, has gone to Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. Jordan Henderson also left in 2023, went to Al Ettifaq in Saudi. Mane obviously went to Bayern Munich, now playing at Al Nassr. He left in 2022. Firmino at Al Ali, I believe. Al Ali. Someone correct me on that. I believe it's Al Ali, but also left in 2023. And Mohamed Salah still at Liverpool. Trent obviously at Real Madrid. So you can see 5 players from this team, 6 players I should say, are still at Liverpool. 5 of those are starters. Obviously Gomez was a bit part. So that's the Jurgen Klopp 1920 11. Let's take a look at the Arne Slot 11. So this is Arne Slot's most used 11. Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Kanate. That's the difference in the back 5. Alexander-Arnold, McAllister, Gravenberch, Gakpo, Szoboszlai, Salah, and Diaz. And you can already see there has been a change of formation as well. So Arne Slot has preferred more of a double pivot with a 10 advancing, whereas Jurgen Klopp, he went more with a conventional, midfield 3 that do the work and win the ball back and play it to the attackers. You can see the attackers on display there, Mane, Firmino, and Salah. It's ridiculous. They scored so many goals that year, and Liverpool obviously went on to win the Premier League title. But you can see the foundations are still correct. The defense is still very similar, but I think the way they utilize the players is slightly different, which is what we're going to speak about. So I've decided to make graphs for you because I think it makes it easier for you guys to understand as well as myself, so you guys can see the differences between Jurgen Klopp and Arne Slot's team. So I'm going to pull up for you now. So don't mind, it's on a Word document, but I did do some research to find this out. So Klopp v Slot compared. As you can see, Klopp's 1920 versus Arne Slot's 24-25. Games won, Jurgen Klopp's title-winning side won 32 games in comparison to Arne Slot's 25. And obviously that might be slightly different because obviously Liverpool did take a foot off the gas after they had won the title against Spurs, so maybe the wins won't be as high, but we have to talk about the season in general. So 32 wins for Klopp, 25 for Arne Slot, 24 wins. Games lost for Klopp, 3. 2 of those came after Liverpool won the title, and 4 for Arne Slot. 3 of those came after Liverpool. No, 2 of those came after Liverpool won the title. They had lost to Nottingham Forest in September, and they lost to Fulham in April. And then the 2 losses happened to Chelsea and to Brighton after Liverpool were already crowned champions. Goal scored, very, very similar between Klopp and Arne Slot. And that shows the attacking quality that both sides have. Goals scored for Jurgen Klopp were 85 in that year, and for Arne Slot were 86. Now, that shows to me that Liverpool were always going to score a lot of goals, and that's down to the quality of the attackers. You obviously have Salah, Mane, Firmino for Klopp, and then you had Diaz, Gakpo, Nunez, Jota, Salah. You have more variation. So I think between the 3 players that started, I think it's more impressive what Klopp did, but that's for another day. Goals conceded, Jurgen Klopp's side conceded 33 goals, whereas Arne Slot's side conceded 41. A slight jump. Again, Liverpool conceded quite a few goals after they had won the title, but still, I think that is a slight issue between the 2 sides, and you can see that. You expect Liverpool to obviously decline because 1920, that everybody was kind of in their primes. Robertson, Trent, Gomez as well, pre-injury. Obviously, he's had a few niggles since then as well. Van Dijk and Alisson, that was the commanding back 4. But you also had the kind of protection of Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum, protecting that kind of back 5, you could call it. Whereas Arne Slot, with his 41 goals conceded for his Liverpool side, you have more of a double pivot that are strong in possession, maybe not as dual-like as Fabinho, Henderson, Gini, Wijnaldum, with Gravenberch and McAllister, who are more dominant in possession because they are more progressive passers and more kind of number 8s rather than number 6s, even though they played in the pivot. And then you've got the total points of the seasons, 99 and 84. I wouldn't look too much into that. I think that's where people say that, oh yeah, Jurgen Klopp's team is better. I do think there's characteristics of that team that are better than Arne Slot's, but I do think there's also characteristics of this Slot team that, impress me more than the Jurgen Klopp team, especially how they keep the ball and how they progress the ball from midfield. I think that's always something Jurgen Klopp's team struggled with, where they use the outlets of, the fullbacks rather than the midfield, which we will get onto. So let's look at the per 90 between Klopp and Arne Slot. As you can see here, slight differences in win percentage, but majority of it is very, very similar. As you can see, Klopp used to get 2.6 points per 90. This is 2.4 for Arne Slot. Now, this graph here is after not taking into account the games after the Tottenham game. So this is from 30th of April 2025 for Liverpool stats here. So obviously that might be a bit different now. You look at the 38-game season, but I'm just talking about when they won the title. Now, the top one was the season, but this is when the title was won. So 27th of April when Liverpool beat Chelsea 5-3 at Anfield. No, when Liverpool beat Palace and obviously Chelsea beat Manchester City. So 2.6 games per 90 for Jurgen Klopp. That's 2.4 for Arne Slot. The win percentage is 84%, whereas Arne Slot is 73.5. 2.2 goals per 90, 2.3. So Liverpool do, 0.1 are better than that, which is a slight surprise. But I do think that's down to the quality of the league as well, because I do think Mane, Firmino, Salah were more of a clinical and more dangerous trio than what Liverpool have now. But that's not a knock to who Liverpool have now. You just have goals conceded per 90. You have 0.9 and 0.9. Again, very, very similar. Thought I got a bit of hair in my mouth. Yeah, sorry, guys. So you can see right there, guys, stats are very, very similar in terms of, goals conceded per 90, goals per 90. But I do believe that, the Klopp team was more impressive for me because of how the league was now. I think the league right now is not at its strongest in terms of the bigger sides, especially the gap is a lot less, which is why Liverpool are. I mean, you could also make the case for the league being stronger now because it's much closer, but I do feel like Liverpool was so far superior and the rest of the league was so close together. Rather than this season, Liverpool are far superior, but it's more closer, so teams are able to beat each other, which shows me that the top teams are not as good. If that's what but you can make the case for the other way, saying that the smaller teams are also got better, which is also true. Two things can coexist together. But that's per 90, guys. And you can see the similarities. They are very, very similar managers in terms of philosophies. let's take a look at now the defensive actions per 90. As you can see here, this is per 90. So this is in defensive actions. So Jurgen Klopp's pressing sequences are 18.1 per 90, whereas Arne Slot's 12.6. So that is a slight drop off by 6. It is quite a drop off for kind of that. High turnovers, Liverpool have 10.7, 8.3, ball recovery 64.4, and Arne Slot's 48.5. Interceptions 9.2, whereas Arne Slot is 8. And you can see from that graph alone, Liverpool's team under Klopp was a lot more intense than what they have under Slot. Slot is more, comparative, understanding the game, likes to play with the ball a bit more, just a bit more calmer, regrouping, sitting in a shape, whereas Klopp is full throttle, going for the team, gun-ho, and you have the energy of Henderson, Wijnaldum, and you have the two wingers, the inside forwards, that you could call it Salah and Mane. Then you have the kind of architect of everything with Bobby Firmino. Of course, the defensive actions are going to be a lot higher as an overall team, especially when Firmino is the one leading the press. Whereas Liverpool now, they're not as intense in the press. They still press when they need to. I think with Klopp's teams, they played the same way against everyone, whereas Arne Slot was very adaptable. You saw at Manchester City, he sat in a lower line and he hit basically City on the counter-attack, whereas Klopp's Liverpool would kind of go for teams, gun-ho, every team, whoever they play, doesn't matter who you are. And obviously that equated to Liverpool conceding a few goals in previous years, but as they got the players they wanted and a structural team, that obviously decreased in terms of goals conceded, etc. But you can see there is a slight drop-off. Liverpool's team is not as intense as it was 5 years ago, and you kind of expect that. They have players in there that are more ball carriers, passers of the ball, rather than players that like to get stuck in. Whereas you see McAllister, he gets stuck in and he's quite high. I think he's ranked 4th or 5th in terms of tackles won in the Premier League this season, which is still pretty good. But I think this is the overall team's defensive action. As you can see, there is a slight difference in that. And I'm not very surprised by that. So this, for me, is quite important now. So obviously, we looked at it before. The goals per 90, we looked at it. Obviously, Liverpool are scoring. It's basically the same. But the difference here is big chances. Liverpool are creating 1.1 more big chances under Arne Slot than they are Jurgen Klopp. This signifies to me that in Liverpool's team now, they have more players in the team that are more creators. So Liverpool used Trent and Robertson as their creators under Arne Slot, where now they have McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and Salah doing that kind of job. But they also have Trent and Robertson that can also supply that, which is why I do think Liverpool's big chances now created under Slot is higher than Jurgen Klopp, because Jurgen Klopp had 2 creators in Trent and Robertson, where everything would go through the fullbacks, and the midfield will just be that commanding, combative, situational team where we'll just break up play and sacrifice themselves for the gun-ho attackers that Liverpool had at the time. Now, McAllister and Gravenberch create a lot of chances. And we're going to get onto the comparison of Liverpool's midfield and how many chances they create. The most used, so I'm talking about McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and the most used was Fabinho, Henderson, and Gini Wijnaldum. That for me is telling that Arne Slot's team is a lot more creative as an overall team than Jurgen Klopp's, where they relied on the front 3. But I do feel like this number for Arne Slot, 2.3, should be higher if they're creating 1 more big chance a game, 1.1 big chance a game, because that overall does add up. But it's still very, very impressive. But that just shows to me that the goals per 90 is similar, even though Liverpool are creating more chances now. I think Jurgen Klopp's attack was more impressive because they are scoring basically the same with less chances per 90, big chances. So that's something also to look at. But you also have to look at the quality of the players. They had Mane and Firmino along with Salah. They don't have that kind of top world-class quality. And that's not a knock to Jota, Nunez, Gakpo, Diaz. It's just factually correct. I think that is the case. Now, we're now going to look at, guys, I think this is very, very important. Liverpool's talisman, Mohamed Salah. Now, he is the only attacker that's still at the club from Jurgen Klopp's 1920 title-winning side. And you can see, guys, right here, how Salah's output has increased under Arne Slot's title-winning side than it was under Jurgen Klopp's title-winning 1920 side. So, Mo Salah got 19 goals in the Premier League with 10 assists, which was the 34% of Liverpool's kind of goals for the season, though. So that his GA was worth 34% at the time. Understandable, it's not going to be as high as now because they had Salah and Mane sharing that. Under Slot, he's got 29 goals, 18 assists, and he's involved in 57.5% of Liverpool's GA this in under Slot. Now, people say to me that this is very, very good. For me, this is a concern. Liverpool now, in this era, are too heavily reliant on Mohamed Salah's output to get them through games. Now, you can rely on these players because Salah's always available. He plays every single week. But he's Asian. He was 20, how old is he now? 33. He was 27 or 28 the last time Liverpool won the title. Yeah, 29. 28, 29, wherever it is. That number, and you can see he is getting better, but I do believe that's also down to him not tracking back as much, and we'll get into that a bit later. But it shows me that Salah has become more of an intelligent forward. He utilizes his pace in different areas. He's become more intelligent. But for Liverpool's overall team, him being involved in more than half of Liverpool's GA for a season, 38 games, or 34 if you're talking about this is Salah's output for the whole season. It's a cause for concern. Now, for Salah, it's very, very impressive. It's ridiculous what he's doing because his numbers have increased and he's getting older. So he's getting more, he's maturing as a player and he's getting better as, age goes on. He's doing the opposite of what happens to players that go at the age of 30. But I think Slot has told Salah, you stay up there, you track when you need to, not as intense, which is why the pressing numbers for Liverpool are now lower because they're not doing as an overall team that they were doing under Jurgen Klopp, as we've seen above. And that's why he's getting himself 29 goals and 18 assists in the Premier League, whereas he was getting 19 and 10, which is more shared. That is the biggest jump for me. It's more than 20% jump between Salah, GA, in terms of his involvements for Liverpool from 1920 to 24-25. I think Liverpool have kind of addressed that problem now, looking at Florian Wirtz to get involved in more of the attack, to get more assists and more goals. I'm sure Liverpool are looking at a number 9, whether that's Isak, who I'm sure will score a lot of goals for Liverpool. He's got 20 odd goals in the Premier League this year, and he's done the same thing last year. So I think that's something to look at as well. If that number decreases next season and these numbers, so if the goals and assists for Salah remain, but the GA of Liverpool's goals drop, it will show to me that Liverpool's attackers are performing at a high level. This shows to me that Liverpool's attackers are not performing at the level they should be. Because Salah's here, the rest are about Diaz, Gakpo, that needs to improve. And I'm sure with signings that Liverpool are going to make this summer, whether that's Isak, whoever they bring in, that number needs to decrease because Liverpool cannot be reliant on a 33-year-old who's also got AFCON this year to be involved in that many of their goals. You can because he's that good of a player. But as an overall team, when he's not there and as he gets older, he will get a few more injuries. That is a cause for concern. But people look at it and say, how is that a cause for concern when you can rely on a player like Mo Salah? Well, you can. But for me, there needs to be more of a split, I think. So, guys, I said to you we're going to look at Liverpool's midfield and compare the two midfields that Liverpool used under Klopp and Slot. So Klopp's 1920, Moshi's midfield was obviously Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Henderson, whereas Slot's was McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai. But you can see here, open play chances created for the midfield trio, the Moshis was 60. McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai was over 100. So that's not 100, that's over 100. That's included Jones as well. And the biggest jump for me, guys, is the GA. So combined GA for Liverpool's midfield was 19 under Klopp for 19-20 title winning side. And in 24-25 for Slot is 27. So that is quite an increase over the season. And 100 chances, that's almost 40 more chances, over 40 more chances created. Open play chances created from Liverpool's midfield now, which shows how creative they are now, which they might not have been 5 years ago. And that's because Liverpool are more reliant on their midfield. They progress through the midfield a lot more now rather than what they did under Klopp, where they used the fullback. So we're also going to speak about how their numbers have changed under Slot. So I think it's down to preference, what you prefer. Do you prefer Liverpool's midfield being more combative, or do you prefer Liverpool's midfield being more of a creative kind of dynamic? And I'm sure with Florian Wirtz now added to Liverpool's midfield, that number is only going to increase because he is an elite creator who I'm going to do a video on very, very soon. But 27 GA combined, 19 GA combined, 100 over 100 big chance open play chances created, sorry, I should rather say, and 60 for Klopp's 1920 midfield. It is a massive jump. Massive jump. And it also shows the quality, because look, McAllister, Gravenberch are more number 8s. Wijnaldum was a number 8, became a box-to-box. Henderson plays 6, but he's also more of a 6 than an 8. Fabinho was a conventional number 6. Liverpool don't have that in their midfield now with McAllister and Gravenberch. They are playing in a pivot together because of their dominance on the ball. Szoboszlai is that number 10 engine that basically Henderson was, but he's playing a lot more advanced. But you could also say the reason why Liverpool are creating and, you know, have more chances and more GA is because you can see Liverpool play with the midfield 3 here, and they play with basically an extra attacker with Szoboszlai. Maybe that's a bit of a difference now. But I guess you kind of, it's down to preference for me. I prefer this midfield because of its ability to play in different positions. I think it's very versatile, whereas that midfield is a very conventional kind of, you know who's sitting where and you know how it's going to go. So it's down to what you like. But guys, I want to show you one last thing. So we know under Jurgen Klopp the influence of Trent and Robertson, the fullbacks, and how reliant Klopp was on the fullbacks to create for him, and how much GA and how many goals and assists Trent and Robertson would get under Jurgen Klopp rather than Arne Slot. And we're going to look at Slot's numbers for Trent and Robertson and Jurgen Klopp's numbers. So let's just look at the graph I made as well for that. Bear with me 1 second though. So here it is, guys. Klopp's 1920. This is combined of Robertson and Trent, by the way. This is not just one or the other. This is combined. So their combined goals under Klopp for the 1920 team was 6. That's never really going to be high. They're not, you know, goal scorers. They're fullbacks at trade. But look at the assists for both of them. 25 assists between Trent and Robertson. 25 assists. Their GA together was 31. Now you look at the decrease in number. 3 goals combined and 7 assists combined. And a total GA of 10 under Arne Slot. Under Slot, Robertson and Trent are more conventional fullbacks. We've seen Robertson also slot into a back 3 when Liverpool are playing in possession. But I think now we see more Gravenberch sitting and then Van Dijk and Konate on the outside with Robertson and Trent bombing on. But they're more conventional fullbacks rather than Trent playing on the wing all the time. And same with Robertson. Robertson, you see more top of the box, and that's not his game. He's more used to whipping crosses into the box, and same with Trent. I think that's why Liverpool have invested in Kirk, so maybe that number does increase. So they still have the output of a Trent and Robbo, but with different players, along with the progression of the midfield that Slot has now. But you can see the difference; it's crazy, and you can see how heavily reliant Klopp was on his fullbacks to create when he didn't have those in midfield. And that's one thing I give Slot praise for. He has changed it tactically, where Liverpool are more reliant on their midfield to create for them. And you saw that with the graphs I showed you above, especially in the big chances created when Liverpool's midfield have over 100, where under Arne Slot they had 60 odd. No, they have 100 now under Arne Slot, where under Klopp they had 60 odd chances created. So I think you can see the differences between the two teams already. I think the graphs show you that Liverpool are more of a less intense team, more of a possession-based team, and more reliant on the midfield, whereas Jurgen Klopp was a gun-ho manager who relied on his fullbacks to do his job for him and the front 3 to score the goals. Whereas Liverpool now are more reliant on more Mo Salah to do that for them, which is why his goals have increased, because it's not shared, but also Liverpool's overall attackers have decreased in quality, which is why he is so important to Arne Slot's team. But guys, let me know what you think. Who do you prefer? Because I do think Liverpool's team of 1920 is a better side. Points show that, goals show that. But Arne Slot's team is a lot more creative in different areas, different aspects. But you guys let me know. What do you think? Slot's 24-25 title winning team or Jurgen Klopp's 1920 Liverpool title winning team? But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash a like. Smash it like I said it twice. Like it twice if you can. Subscribe to the channel, and more content is coming your way. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for the continued support on the channel. Let me know the type of videos you want to see. and hopefully Liverpool can wrap up some more players so those numbers do increase. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care.